I want to begin this morning with giving you 3 vignettes of modern day Marthas and Marys. And because I have trouble memorizing things, I hope you don't mind if I read them. They're very short. First vignette. Elderly Martha sits quietly in her nursing room. She speaks to no one. She never has visitors. She barely acknowledges the nurse's presence. She stares out the window all day, angry at God for letting her get so old, for taking away from her any satisfaction of being useful or needed by anyone. Martha wants it all to end. Elderly Mary lives next door. She's pretty much in the same place as Martha, but Mary refuses to yield to old age. Mary welcomes her children and grandchildren, always managing to come up with some kind of treat for them. She happily and gratefully accepts their offers to go for a walk or to bring pizza and ice cream for a picnic in one of the common rooms. Every day she prays her beads for all of them. Mary opts for the better part of being a source of joy for her family. Vignette 2. Martha is a busy high school student. Getting into a good school is all that matters to her. All of Martha's decisions are measured by how this will look good on her college application, how it will build her GPA, how it might translate into scholarship dollars. Mary is also a busy high school student. She wants to get into a good school. But Mary also learned from her mom and dad that the importance of giving from what she has received. So she makes time in her busy school schedule of classes, school activities, and work to give time to a local food pantry and an after-school program for kids at risk. Mary realized the better part is about doing good she can do for others and the satisfaction and fulfillment that come from such giving. Vignette 3. Martha is working hard to build her own career. She even has plans to start her own firm sooner than later, but creating your own brand is a 24/7 job, and if you're going to make it big someday, your work must be your singular focus, and everything else has to take a second place. Mary also loves her work. She's good at what she does. She dreams of putting up her own shingle someday. But Mary has a smart, supportive boss and terrific co-workers. She's learned a lot from them and has built an impressive portfolio. She also met a terrific guy. They plan to be married next summer. Mary wants the better part, not just as a lifestyle, but a life of joy and meaning. So those are 3 vignettes of modern Mary and Marthas, and maybe some of you can identify with one of those or whatever, or see people who are like that. And as I said earlier, most of us, I'm assuming, think Martha is getting a bad rap for doing all the work, and Mary just sits there listening. And I don't think my little words are going to change your mind. But whenever I read the scriptures, I always ask, is there something deeper? See, and I think there is, especially as I mentioned earlier, this story is butted against last week when the opposite message was given. So I'm proposing to all of us, and I already mentioned that in the beginning of the Mass, there's something deeper. It's not whether or not you are a Martha or a Mary, but what underlies it. And Jesus didn't criticize Martha for doing everything. He criticizes her because she was worried and distracted by what she had to do. Are you ever anxious or worried or distracted by what you have to do in life? Whether it's the active Martha part or whether it's the reflective, prayerful Mary part. Have you ever been worried or anxious or distracted by that? That's what Jesus, I think, is getting at. Martha wanted the perfect meal, the perfect house, the immaculate kitchen, whatever. Have you ever had a party where you work so hard, like a lot of Thanksgiving dinners, the one who gives the dinner is so busy they never get a chance to visit with anybody. You're anxious and worried. Also the prayers, the meditators. So often those people who are inclined to pray and meditate more often, they're also as irritated and anxious, not about others not helping them, but that God doesn't do what they want God to do. Whether we are a Martha or a Mary, in those situations, the best word I can come up with is should. If you're a worker, whenever you start thinking about how come others don't help me, others should do this. Martha, Mary should do this. Or if you're a prayer, a meditator, and you say, God should do this. Whenever you get into the shoulds or the should nots, that's a sign that we're far from God. When we're full of shoulds, God can't get in. So that's what we're challenged with today. Okay, with that foundation, I've been doing some reading lately on FOMO. Do any of you know what FOMO is? Some of you do. It's FOMO. It's the fear of missing out. The fear of missing out. Because that's growing in our society because of advertising and social media and the internet and Facebook and all of that. That we are challenged that we might be missing something. You know, because we hear and see people who have a better house or a better car or a better job or to go to better restaurants. Now, if you're on Facebook, when people are out at a restaurant, they'll text you a picture of their dinner. And then that prompts us to say, oh man, I'm missing out. And if you're exposed to any of that, I'm sure we all know about it at least, that's opposite the message of Jesus. He doesn't come with a fear of missing out. He comes with the fear of not giving, if I can say it that way. Because Jesus is our model. We live in a society where the high point is our achievement and our consumption and our self-importance. And we come here for this 1 hour a week and we are given a different message, but it's so hard for us to absorb it and live it because as soon as we get out there, we get all this bombardment of the fear of missing out what everybody else is doing, and probably it's better than what we're doing. And that's the challenge. That's what we're dealing with today. Another reading I'm doing talks about the sunset fatigue. Have you heard about that? That means that all day long we work so hard to achieve whatever, and we come home at night, we're exhausted. Sunset fatigue. And we have nothing left to give to the people who are the most important people in our life. That's the tension, the challenge. Fear of missing out. And I want to talk about a moment about the fear, because that's what's engendered in us by everything around us, the fear. And that's the readings today are about hospitality. I'm sure you caught that. Abraham and then Mary and Martha. We're afraid of welcoming others, whether it's the immigrants into our country, maybe it's people into our neighborhood, maybe it's the people we associate with or people we have to work with. We're afraid that somehow they're going to hurt us or deprive of us of something. And as I already mentioned, the second letter, Paul to Colossians, gives us the model of Jesus. That's our model. Don't do it because I say it. Only do it if you can pick up the model of Jesus. Jesus gave everything for us. And he's our model that more and more, if we want to be disciples, we have to give of ourselves to him. in the service of others. It's based always on prayer, because you can't get to know Jesus if you don't spend time with him. But as we spend time with him, he's going to move us to be like him in our world. That more and more, as we sacrifice ourselves for him, we're going to realize the joy of giving, because that's the real joy of discipleship. And I bet most of us know it. We don't get a lot of joy out of what we get. We get our satisfaction, our self-worth from what we give others. We're called to be disciples. Thank you for watching this week's homily here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. We invite you to join us for liturgy any weekend that you might be in the area. You can contact us at mysaintelizabeth.com or on Facebook. Thank you very much.